so this says, yes, it's the last online lesson you have to watch. Okay, so this is lesson 10 today, composition of functions. All right, so nice part about composition of functions is has a lot to do with the evaluating of functions that we did on our last one, okay? So function composition. Function composition is the result of substituting the variable in one function with a second function. Okay, so here is how it's going to look. So pause it and play as you can here, or as you need to. Okay, so here's how it looks. It has that f of g of x. So that's how it's read. It's read as f of g of x, and it can look either way. It can look like this does here on the left. So f and this little thing means of g of x. Or it could look like it does here on the right, where it has g of x that is inside the f of x function. So that is still read as f of g of x. Okay? And here's the greatest part about these is you work from the inside out. Okay, so you start on the inside and you work your way out. So pause and write any of that you need to down, rewind and play. Okay, so again, working backwards, working from the inside, working out. You don't have to write that orange up there down, but here are our two functions. F of x equals 3x plus 1. G of x is 2x minus 5. And here is the first one. So f of g of 2. So it says we're working backwards. Okay, so we're working from the inside out. Okay, so inside out here, working backwards would be starting here at g of 2. Okay, so when I start at g of 2, g of 2 means, hey, I'm using my g of x function. 2 times x minus 5. And what am I putting in for x? Well, I'm putting in the 2. And I'm going to evaluate that. G of 2. 4 minus 5. So g of 2 is negative 1. Okay? Now this next part, I did the inside. Okay, I did the g of 2. Now I need to do the f of g of 2. So now I'm going to do f of whatever I just got. Well, I got negative 1. So g of 2 was negative 1. So now I'm going to do f of negative 1, working outwards here. So I did the inside part first. I did this g of 2 first. And I got this negative 1. Okay. Now I'm going to do the outside part, which is f of whatever I get for g of 2. So f of, and g of 2 got negative 1. I'm going to make sure I put it in the right function. 3 times x plus 1. Okay, and I have a negative 1 that's going in there. I'm going to move this down here. Alright, so f of negative 1 is negative 3 plus 1. So f of negative 1 is negative 2. So what does that mean? It means right here, the beginning question where it said, what is f of g of 2? Okay. F of g of 2 is negative 2 because that's what I got at the very end. Okay. So a similar type question here. G of f of negative 1. So again, I'm going to use colors here, okay, to help you out and keep things organized. So if I start on the inside says do f of negative 1. Well, lucky us, we kind of already did that on the last question. F of negative 1. 3 times negative 1 plus 1. Okay. So f of negative 1 is negative 3 plus 1. So f of negative 1 is negative 2 again. Okay. Now this says I need to do g of whatever I just got for f of negative 1. Okay, so g of, and what I just got was negative 2. 2 times x minus 5. So 2 times negative 2. So right now I'm just simplifying, doing some simple math, and I get g of negative 2 equals negative 9. So what does that mean? It means that this whole thing, g of f of negative 1, equals negative 9. This last one down here that you cannot see currently, let me see if I can get it so you can see it. There we go. This last one says g of f of x. Okay, so g of f of x. So if I start on the inside says f of x. Okay, well, f of x is just whatever f of x is. So 3x plus 1. Okay, now I can't simplify anything. I put the x in, it stays. Now I need to do the g of f of x. So g of, and I'm putting 3x plus 1 in there for f of x. Okay, so g of 3x plus 1 equals 2 times x minus 5. And inside for x, we're putting that 3x plus 1. Okay, now to simplify this g of 3x plus 1, we are going to just first distribute, right? 6x plus 2 minus 5. So g of 3x plus 1 is 6x minus 3. That means the entire thing, when simplified, is 6x minus 3 when I work my way from the inside out. Okay, so here I'm giving you 3 new functions, okay? And we're going to do essentially the same thing, all right? Working from the inside out. So pause and write down the functions. Here's the first question, but I am going to have you try this on your own, okay? So trying these on your own, starting with the inside of that h of f of 3, okay? And I will pause and play for each step. So there's where your f of 3 should go. Okay, there's what you should have when you simplify the f of 3. So now make sure you do the outside, the h of that. How about Mrs. Stare is crazy? That should just say 13. Now we're going to do the h of that. So there you go. There's what you should put that into. So when you get that h of 13 is 54, that means the entire h of f of 3 is 54. On this next one, I want you to try it straight from beginning to end on your own, okay? Beginning to end. Alright, I'm going to reveal first what you should have when you did f of 0. Okay, f of 0, you should have had that equals negative 5. When you input your f of 0 into the g function, so g of negative 5, there's how it should have been inputted. And then I did one step at a time basically here. I made sure I did my squared first, exponents. Okay, so double check your step there. And I also multiplied the 10 times negative 5 because I could in that same step. Okay, then I did my 2 times 25, and then I completely simplified. So what does that mean? It means that g of f of 0 equals negative 11 as my final answer. Alright, the last one down here, it looks kind of like it might be tricky, but it's not. f of 5. Okay, so start with the inside and pause it and see what you get. And then see if you're correct on where you should do for your next step. Okay, there's the inside, f of 5. Okay, so now I'm going to do the outside, f of whatever I just got. So now I'm doing f of 25. So I can plug into the same function twice. 6 times 25 minus 5. So f of 25 equals 150 minus 5. 145. Okay, so f of 5 is 145 as my final answer. This last page just shows you that they can look different. Okay, so pause it. There's your f of x, g of x, and h of x. And right here, this first one, I have g of h of 4. Okay, so it's nothing different. I am still going to start with the inside of h of 4 and find what h of 4 is. Okay, so 14 times 4 minus 9, and simplify. After I find h of 4, I'm going to go back and I'm finding g of what I just got. So g of 53. So go ahead and simplify that. All right, there is what you should have as your final answer for that one. Now, this one right here, again, looks exactly the same, only you do it 3 times. So I want you to challenge yourself, and I want you to try to do this one on your own. Okay, I'm still going to start on the inside, and I'm still going to work my way outwards. There are just 3 of them rather than 2 of them. I will pause and play for each step, okay? There is the first one. All right, now input it into the next part, working your way from the inside and keep going outwards. Okay, there's what you should have for the next step. So you have 1 more to go, h of whatever that is. All right, so h of that 81 is 1125. So that means the final answer here is 1125 for that h of g of f of -3. Hey, thanks for hanging in on this last lesson. I realized the last 2 were pretty long this time, but hey, we made it through these lessons of online learning. Thanks.
Look.